Welcome to Nothing Finer. I'm your host, Rick Beach, along with Austin Allen. Austin, how did you enjoy the holidays so far?
Oh, it was good. Good little break over Christmas break. Got to enjoy some time with family. But what's in the back of my mind every day.
Yeah,
Sugar Bowl coming up.
one
So
day closer to the Sugar Bowl. Now we're coming to this Sugar Bowl preview show. Looking in, I know a lot's happened since last time we got here with
yeah,
players missing or players declaring for the draft with Andrew Thomas, Isaiah Wilson not going to play, declaring for the draft. Numerous players, not I think it's up to 13 now, moved for injuries or undisclosed reasons. But much like with Kirby, I don't really want to spend 30 minutes discussing who's not at the Sugar Bowl and thinking, let's roll with the guys that Georgia's rolling with.
yeah,
Let's talk about the guys that are there. So you're looking at Baylor's coming in here. They had 2 losses, obviously both of them to Oklahoma. You're looking, they came in second in the Big 12, but they're a mirror image of what Georgia was in the SEC, second in the conference. But offense kind of struggled, really strong defense, which you rarely see out of a Big 12 team.
yeah.
And you're seeing if they can play defense in the Big 12, you know that's going to be a solid defense. What are you looking forward to? What are you expecting as far as this team goes?
I do think they play pretty good defense. I just want to see them I want to see us kind of get after it a little bit. I know the SEC championship game was pretty disappointing, so I really want to see us step up in the aspect of the run game, especially. I don't know what the status of DeAndre Swift is right now, or if I know he's been practicing and things like that, but I think getting the ground game back to UGA standard is pretty important in this game for me.
Yeah, I think coming in, you speak about the SEC championship. It's the disappointment. You got to get that taste out of your mouth. Last year we had so close to winning the SEC championship where, it was just a hangover
Yeah.
of we let Bama beat us twice. We let that feeling of Notre Dame getting in the playoffs thinking we should be there. And it snuck up on us with Texas. I think this year, the guys that are in New Orleans, they want to get that taste out. They want to get what happened against LSU, the offense especially. And do I expect us to score 45, 50 points? Absolutely not. But I do think this offense, especially you talked about the running game, should be much more improved than what we've seen.
Yes.
Now, whether it's DeAndre Swift or not, but even with James Cook, Zamir White, and Kenny McIntosh going, you got to think they should be able to perform.
Yeah.
But you also got to look. Georgia's losing the tackles.
Yeah.
You're losing 2 tackles, and how many teams can lose 2 tackles? Then you put 2 former 5-star recruits in a tackle. You're going to have Jameer Sawyer's going to play 1 tackle on the right side. Caden Mays going over to your left. So you're looking at this offensive line. But let's talk about what Baylor has on defense. Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year, James Lynch, number 93. He's going to be matched up on the tackles.
Yeah.
They're going to move him around on the line. So he's going to go against Jameer Sawyer, who we haven't seen at tackle too much this year, if any.
Yeah.
I know we've seen him at guard a little bit. Then with Caden Mays, how excited are you to see how Sawyer and Mays match up against this Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year?
Well, I'm super excited. I think it's the next man up mentality. I think that's why, Pittman spent so much time bringing in these guys while he was here, and why Matt Luke's continuing to do the same. I think, these are the things that are going to happen at UGA. We got guys going to the league every year, and, it started in 17 when Isaiah Wynn left, and it's just been one every year after that. Now we got a couple going, and, I think you got to plug and play. I'm very confident in Cade Mays' ability to play tackle.
Yeah, we've seen.
We've seen Jamari Sawyer. I think Jamari Sawyer actually started right tackle for the Murray State game, so he did get some action in there. So, I think they'll be able to plug and play, and I think that's what the great thing about this offensive line is the versatility of each position. Like they can, Trey Hill can play guard, he can play center, and Cade Mays can pretty much play every position on the line. And I think that's the real strength of this line is the way they cross-train and the way they learn everybody's role, and they know how to communicate and things like that.
Yeah, Jameer Sawyer come in as an interior lineman. He was a guard center prospect for Georgia. Now we see him over here at tackle. And who knows, next year when the season starts, he might move back to a guard position.
Yeah, they have more guys ready to go.
Because you have more guys, and you got the new guys coming in.
Yeah.
But we still got Clay Webb, who we haven't seen.
You still got Xavier Truss.
You got Truss, who we haven't seen. But the new redshirt rule allows these guys to play.
Yeah, they'll get
And so you're going to see a lot more of these guys playing. And I feel like with Kirby's looking at these bowl games differently than in the past or some other teams where he wants to put 2019 behind him and preparing for 2020. It's not really a glorified spring game, but let's get these guys some meaningful snaps in practice, meaningful snaps in the game. But you're still going to have the Jake Fromms, DeAndre Swift. You're still going to have, Tay Crowder's going to play on defense. You're going to have these names. But at the same time, we get to see a Louis Sign play at safety. We've seen him play in the SEC Championship. Now he's going to start, see a lot of playing time. And last year we saw Azeez Alajari in the Sugar Bowl, Devon Wilson in the Sugar Bowl. So it kind of, we get to see some of these prospects that we were all excited about last February. And how do you think, are you against or for maybe this, preparing for 2020 in the bowl game?
I mean, I'm with it because I mean it's the last game, and what I mean, I think Kirby got burned a little bit last year by some guys who maybe weren't all the way all in for that game, like you said, the hangover effect type thing, and I think a lot of the young pups got out there and outplayed some of the older guys, and I don't think Kirby wants to see that anymore. I mean, I think he can pretty much tell, and if you're not 100% in, I think he's going to just leave you behind for this one because I think he doesn't want to get burned again in the same game, and this is a bad look for him if he can't pull it together.
That's the same thing.
W.
I mean, if you lose the same way,
yeah.
The difference is this ain't Texas as far as name recognition.
Definitely not.
You lose to Texas, and Texas had the big Texas is back and all that. And if you're Georgia, you say, well, we got beat by an upcoming Texas team. It shouldn't happen. But if you lose to Baylor, that's, I mean, in any sport outside of women's basketball,
that's bad.
You really shouldn't be losing to Baylor and stuff. And I don't see where, I don't think it's going to be a blowout by any means. Mainly Georgia's offense is just anemic. We've seen that. I don't think there's going to be a big change.
Yeah.
And with the offensive lineman, if anything, it might have a little bit of a fall off. Now Swift could go out there and have a big game. We've seen how Big 12 defenses, but I don't know if this defense is like any of the Big 12 defenses we've seen. Matt Rule's got a real good program. They're, kind of taking his, characteristics. Now he's also being named for some NFL jobs. I don't know how much that is a distraction on the team.
Yeah.
Looks like Carolina is looking at him, and I believe one other team was looking at him. So New York, the Giants.
Giants.
That has to be some kind of a distraction. But if you're Georgia,
absolutely.
It shouldn't matter. I mean, Georgia recruits at a top-tier level. We're 2, 3, even 4 deep at some positions. And we shouldn't have any excuse for losing to Baylor.
Yeah, that's my point, is there's no excuse at this point the way the talent's been built up on this roster for, over the last 3 years. And I think, it doesn't matter who goes out besides it being Jake Fromm, this next man up. I think that's where we're at right now in this program. And, I think that's the goal we all wanted. Yeah. So now, Kirby's got to see that, and he's got to be able to put it all together and get the W. And there's no more room for excuses anymore.
Yeah, I mean, the only position we know, and it's been an issue all year, has been wide receiver.
Yeah.
And with Blaylock getting hurt.
Yeah. Now it's all gonna fall on Pickens.
But we got Pickens.
But,
we have a A1 type receiver out there.
That's a future superstar. I mean, so first round talent.
He's going to be doubled up. But if you get time to throw, we're just going to throw it to Pickens, and
Yeah, that's a good matchup I wanted to see is Grenard Arnold, 6 picks on the year for Baylor.
Yeah, talk more about that matchup.
I want to see if they're going to blanket him on Pickens or what they're going to try to do, because Pickens is going to be the main weapon for Jake Fromm. I mean, that's just it. Nobody's going to, Jake Fromm's not about to waste time throwing to Tyler Simmons, no disrespect, but Jake Fromm wants to win this game. I can tell that already off the rip. He ain't said nothing about the NFL. Yeah. He said, we're not going to talk about it, period. I'm here to win this game. So, I know that he's going to be going to Pickens, to Jackson, to, some explosive guys. So I just want to see how they're going to bracket Pickens up, or if they're going to stick this Arnold guy all over him. I mean, 6 picks on the year is a lot. I mean, now when you think about him being in the Big 12 and how much they pass, I guess the statistics would kind of weigh in that favor, but that's just an interesting matchup. I want to see how they kind of try and take Pickens away from us a little bit.
Who are you excited about seeing at Georgia? Maybe a younger guy or somebody that you're just excited about watching?
I want to see the young running backs. I want to see Zamir White. I want to see James Cook. I want to see him get the ball a whole lot in many different ways.
Yeah, that's what I want to see. I want to see him use Cook as a traditional back.
Yeah.
And also how they can mix him up. But I think Swift is going to play.
Yeah,
I think DeAndre Swift's going to play.
I mean, I don't think they're going to ride him into the ground. I mean,
no, but I think he'll get. But they normally don't. I mean, he's usually a 14, 16 carries a game, and I think he should. If he gets around that, we should be winning.
Yeah,
I mean that should bode well for Georgia that he's getting that many carries and mixing in Zamir. Now, where Zamir is health wise?
Zamir's ready to me. I think he's ready.
But, it just seems like he's just been nipping at the bit, just that one step away. Whether it's been because of the surgeries or what, he's that one step off. Maybe these last couple of weeks having him off, and he's rested up.
Yeah.
We hadn't used him.
I think it's about giving him the more reps now. I think,
he's like a horse.
He's as rested as he's going to be, I mean, he come out first week versus Vanderbilt and had an explosive run. So I feel like, he's a guy kind of like in the style of Nick Chubb or where you just you just keep feeding him the rock, you know what I'm saying? And the more you give it to him and the later in the game it gets, I think the better and more explosive he'll get. So that's kind of, I really want to see him get at least, I think if we hand the ball off somewhere between 35 to 40 times, I'd like to see Zamir White get about 13 to 15 of those at least.
Yeah, because I feel when you run him, Georgia run him and take him out.
Yeah.
And it feels like a
Yeah, it's
horse.
like
You
you
got to
got,
get him lathered
yeah,
up. And once Chubb would get going,
yeah,
he was an unstoppable force. Gurley was even like that
yeah,
too.
Gurley was.
And these big backs are like that. It's hard to
Yeah,
just hit lightning,
yeah.
and you're going to hit it.
You got to let them
Maybe
plot
a
it out
James
a little
Cook, you
bit.
want to do that. You want to
Yeah,
kind of bang him around
yeah,
a little bit
yeah,
and pull him out. But with Zamir, it seems like as soon as he gets in a rhythm, they want to pull him out.
yeah.
Now, hopefully next year that won't happen at all.
Right.
But also next year, you look at the talent that's coming in. We'll
Yeah.
talk a little bit about that later. I'd like to see a Zamir White have his breakout game. But on defense, I want to see a Louis Sign really show
Yeah.
that he's going to be able to handle safety next year. Because he's going to play all. I mean, you're losing.
Well, I heard
Reed for sure.
I heard are they trying to put Campbell in Reed's spot for the Sugar Bowl? I've heard some things about that, about Tyson Campbell
I hadn't heard that.
swapping into J.R. Reed's spot for the Sugar Bowl, and I think if they do that,
Well, we've talked about all season for
Yeah.
next year. If Campbell and Sign can
Yeah.
play safety,
Oh, yeah.
that would shore up our defense. I feel, and you felt the same way because you got Tyreek Stevenson.
Yeah.
You got these other guys that can play corner. So Tyson Campbell going to corner, going to safety would
Yeah.
really be a plus
Oh,
in my
yeah.
opinion, I think. But Louis Sinus, who he played well, and I
Yeah.
think he had 7 or 8 tackles against LSU, which
Yeah, he played well. He definitely did. When we were running that 3-1-7, I definitely didn't expect them to do that. They did, and I think Louis Sign really showed us what he's capable of, and I think there's even more to come with him. So
Yeah, and I'm excited about this offensive line. I want to see Warren Erickson, who I hadn't seen, and
Yeah.
Jameer Sawyer playing. We've seen Cade play all over the place. We've
Yeah.
seen him at right tackle, left tackle, guard, center
Yeah.
this year.
Yeah.
So we know what we're going to get at the left tackle. We're having a SEC caliber, all SEC player at left tackle. Jameer Sawyer could be that talent. He was highly regarded 5-star. He could be at that point now. But Warren Erickson's came in, and he was a 4-star coming in. Hadn't played much, if any.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited to see how we run the ball because Baylor's strength is their defensive line, and it starts with James Lynch. They're not as deep as you see a lot of SEC teams, but they got the talent up front. But I really, they're not an Auburn defense.
Yeah.
We saw what we did against Auburn. We had, the 11 punts?
Yeah.
But we managed to get 21 points. And I think 21 points would be enough to beat Baylor because all that's happened lately is people forgot how good this Georgia defense is. And there's no Roquan Smith on this defense. It wasn't, J.R. Reed wasn't this All-American that carried the defense that's not playing.
Yeah.
Tyler Clark wasn't this he wasn't what Derek Brown and Marlon Davison is over at Auburn. And this defense is just 20 guys that just rotate in and out. And so this game shouldn't be any different than the whole season.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I think that's what Georgia's defense is built on. I think that's what it'll be going forward is just, if a man goes down, next man in, and, that's across. I think they're even across the board. I think the 11 behind the first 11 are just as good, so I think that's what's important to this defense, and, I think Dan Lannon does a great job with that and preaching the team first mentality type thing, and, Baylor's defense probably is really stout and they're really good, but I mean, let's be honest about the Big 12 for a second.
Right.
I mean, we love to talk about how much points the Big 12 scores, but how much points does the Big 12 score? How many teams outside of Oklahoma State light the scoreboard up in the Big 12 every week?
And we just saw
Kansas State
A&M.
don't.
They didn't score 60 against
Yeah.
A&M.
West Virginia don't light it up. I mean, TCU don't light it up. So I mean, there's a little give and take. I think Baylor gets a good rep because they, come from the Big 12 and they actually play defense. But, I think Georgia will be ready to play.
Well, yeah, when we saw what the best Big 12 team did against the best SEC team. And I know that's a oddity for how good LSU is this year.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the best Big 12 team could have gave 90 points.
Yeah.
I mean, if LSU didn't pull off
Yeah,
the gas.
they could have easily.
And you're looking at that going, if this Baylor team does slip up and beat Georgia, what's that say on the care factor? Because Georgia's got the talent. They got the talent. We talked about 3 deeps.
Yeah.
Can compete.
That's what I think all the player absences are totally about this year to me. I think Kirby's just not – he's not playing no games. He does not want to lose. He does not want to deal with that criticism.
Distractions, that's what it was last year.
Yeah, he doesn't. He's not. He's putting all that out the window, and I think that's what I think is important about this game. That's what I think will give us the edge.
Yeah, I mean, I think looking at it, Georgia, it's going to be a close game. We'll do the scores later on. We know it's going to be a close game. Let's talk real quick about the 2 future pros. We know it's eventually they're going to have to next year. They ain't going to have a choice. This year, DeAndre Swift, Jake Fromm.
Yeah.
Where do you see them two or each one? You think they're going to go pro? You think one of them's going pro? And what do you think that means for Georgia?
Uh, I'd lean towards Swift going pro and Jake coming back.
Yeah.
That's just where I'm at with it right now. I really think Jake, is not worried about when he makes it to the NFL, or I think he really wants to win a national championship, and I think he loves his university. I think he wants to stay and get his degree, and I'm sure his family will have things like that to input too. But for DeAndre Swift, if I was DeAndre Swift, I'd have to go because it's already hard just to remain durable as a running back, and I think he just needs to go get his money right now and not wait. Because the shelf life of a running back in the NFL these days is not very long. Pretty crazy to think that Adrian Peterson might be like one of the oldest running backs in the league right now, and so it's hard. And with the injuries he sustained this year and last year, he was dealing with hamstrings and stuff all year. I think it's just time for him to go get his money and move on.
Yeah, I think Swift, he should go pro. I mean, he's going to be a first-round pick. There's no need to really push that off. Like you said, it's the lifespan of a running back in the league. You don't want to cut your league, especially with the rookie contracts. You don't want to run yourself out of making money potentially. And with Fromm, I think he could leave and be a really high draft pick this year. And we speak of it all the time. All it takes is one GM to fall in love, and we know Jake's charisma. But if you're Fromm, you got to look at this receivers that are coming in
and coming back.
And you got to think, if you truly want to win the national championship at the University of Georgia, you do have a legit shot next year because Pickens and Blaylock and D-Rob coming back. Then you got Roseme, Jermaine Burton, and Arian Smith. And then hopefully we find out on Thursday about Darnell Washington. You're looking at an offense now that has no excuse for not to be explosive.
Yeah.
And if you're Fromm and you're looking at it that way, you have that. Then you also have that, if you get a draft grade back, saying you're a first-round draft pick, and you're looking at, if Fromm goes, Kirby's got to attack the transfer market.
Yeah.
We got to find a grad transfer, hit the portal, find some guy with some experience. Because DeJuan Mathis has all kind of potential. We have a lot of faith in him. He's practiced all year. He hadn't had any contact because of the brain cyst he had in the offseason. But I don't know how comfortable you'll be, especially when you're looking at the Bama game and Tuscaloosa, third game of the year. Do you want to run Carson Beck as a true freshman, DeJuan Mathis as a redshirt freshman who hadn't played out there? Or do you want to bring in a guy, and we'll talk about it, we hadn't heard, he ain't even in the transfer portal, Derek King, getting a little traction out of Houston. What do you think that would mean to the University of Georgia?
That would be huge to get that guy in here and see what he can do. We know he was a weapon at Houston. I think he had 50 touchdowns in 2018. I mean, the kid's just he's an all-around type dude, real fast, real quick, pretty good arm talent, good arm strength. I think having something like that plus Zamir White and James Cook and the things you could do with that could be pretty deadly.
I mean, you look at this James Coley offense. A lot of these. RPOs, a lot of these runs, where if Fromm pulls it back and runs, it don't only open up him running the ball, but you can freeze the safety, open a receiver going down.
It seems like they don't want him to pull it.
They don't, and that's because you look at what's behind him.
Yeah.
I mean, you got Stetson Bennett. With all due respect, he's not an SEC quality backup quarterback. He's, Johnson Community College, he had like 15 touchdowns, 14 interceptions or something. He's not the big, durable guy. So you don't need Fromm to get hurt, but you bring in somebody like King, who can pull it down and has the threat of running.
It adds so much.
It opens your passing game. You watch these guys and go, how's he get so wide open? Because it freezes people. They're so scared of the quarterback running.
Yeah, it strains the defense so hard. Like they wouldn't be used to that compared to the style of offense we've been running. To have that would be night and day. And I don't think defenses would know how to respond to it, especially not having anything on film.
And the thing is, it'd be the exact same plays being called this year. Because you look at us getting tackled behind the line. Zamir in the SEC championship game got torn. The Swift play against A&M where he got hit in the backfield. If Fromm kept that ball, because the ends, the safeties are coming on the outside, just crash down.
Yeah, they're selling out. I mean, nobody believes that Fromm's going to pull it. And, if I'm Coley, and, next year, I guess when you do have Carson Beck come in, if Fromm does decide to say, I'm saying pull those, pull those. And, and because it could change the dynamic of this offense and, it could really make the ends and the linebackers, outside linebackers really respect.
Yeah, because even if you gain 5 yards on first down, now you're 2nd and 5, 2nd and 6. You can manage that instead of 2nd and 13 because you lost 3 yards on the tackle behind the line of scrimmage. So, definitely next year, no matter who's there, there's got to be that.
Yeah.
It's college football nowadays. There is no more I formation, pound it, pound it, pound it, and you don't even see many quarterbacks go under center.
Yeah.
And produce well. We saw in this bowl game the other day, Fields went under center. It changes everything.
Yeah.
And that's not a knock on Fields. That's teams don't do it anymore.
Yeah.
Georgia's one of the rare teams where you see them go up under center at a regular basis, not just the goal line. So I think if he comes back, he's gonna have plenty of weapons. But all it takes is one, like we said, one GM fall in love with him. And I think it could set Georgia, if they don't get a grad transfer, you're looking at one of them years where the Tua Tagovailoas, the Trevor Lawrence, the Jake Fromms that come in as a true freshman and can produce at a high level is hard to get. You don't see it all the time. And I think Georgia might have a struggle at quarterback next year.
Yeah.
And then you look at all the weapons you have around them, and you're like, why can't they just all come together at the same time when you have a junior quarterback, but you get these wideouts that are hurt, and you don't have the talent at wideout. So hopefully next year can come together. I hope Fromm comes back.
I hope he does too, because I feel like he took so many lumps from starting in the off season with Holloman, and at the time we were talking about how explosive this offense could be with Holloman and Cager and Pickens and these guys coming in, and to lose Holloman, looking back, was a huge blow to this team. And then Cager not being able to stay healthy, it was just like piling on at that point.
Because if we had Holloman and Cager, and then with Pickens,
Blaylock, I mean that's four.
That whole offense is totally different. Now, I've seen some things on Twitter saying they should bring Holloman back. I think that's a no-go.
Yeah, I don't think
anytime you got, he admitted abuse on a woman. So I think that's a no-go for him ever coming back. And I hate it for him.
Yeah.
But
wish him the best.
But it's his mistake, though.
Yeah.
At the same time, you just can't do that. That's a no-no. And he wouldn't have got kicked out of the school and off the team if it hadn't happened.
Yeah.
So I'm sure he admitted it to the coaches. If that's the case, can't be a womanizer. You got to get out of here. And I don't think they need to bring him back. Now you're looking at these wide receivers, and you ain't going to see that talk anymore about trying to bring somebody that got kicked off back.
Yeah.
And let's talk about a little bit about Thursday with these big three recruits coming in. You got Darnell Washington, Keelan Ringo, and Zach Evans.
You lock them guys up, that's the number one class.
You think Georgia got them? You think we got two?
I'd like to say I think we got Washington and Ringo. Evans, so I mean, dude, so he's here, he's there, he's dropping hints, but I don't know how much to believe anything he says at this point.
I think the hints or the stuff he drops are too obvious.
Yeah, I think he could be trolling, and end up picking
at the same time, why would he say that about Dale McGee?
Yeah,
the clue about my
true.
position coach had a rookie in the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
I think that's something an 18-year-old kid just says.
Yeah,
because he don't realize how obvious he's making it.
Yeah,
but if we get Evans and Washington, which obviously for Georgia, Washington is the one you got to have.
Yeah, the dynamic tight end play can change this offense. So.
And people said Georgia we throw the tight end a lot.
Yeah.
Our tight ends don't catch the ball
a
lot. That's Georgia's issue this year.
There's no Isaac Nada on the team this year.
Yeah, and Wolf, I appreciate, he's done a good job, but he's had a lot of key drops. Yeah. And you bring in somebody like Darnell Washington, he's a mismatch. There's no linebackers that keep up with the speed.
He's 6'7".
And he can fly. He's a wide receiver with a tight end. I mean, you got to have that kind of talent. Georgia, that's who you get. We can live without Zach Evans.
Yeah.
Ringo, you can go without, but you got to get that Darnell, especially losing out on Eric Gilbert in state. It makes that a little bit easier to stand. I still think there's a chance we get all three. I think there's a pretty good chance we get all three.
If we get all three, I mean, that's the number one class with 24 signees. And I think that'll be pretty historic. I think the rating per player is through the roof. And, the fact that we're up as far as we are with less recruits than everybody else in front of us, I think this will be a huge class.
I think with Broderick Jones pushing his to February, he's going to sign in December originally, got recruited by Auburn. Yeah. I think he's got a Tennessee visit coming up. I think him pushing off to February helped Georgia. Yeah. Because I think at the time he was really leaning towards Auburn. And I think them saying, okay, we'll come to an official visit with Matt Luke. Matt Luke is not, a replacement for Sam Pittman, just a fill-in. He is a legit.
He can go get it, man.
He's got first-round draft picks drafted. He can recruit at a high level. And, is he a Sam Pittman? We don't know yet. But he could recruit.
He came into Georgia and stole plenty of guys. Like he stole Plumlee, got him to go to Mississippi. I think he's a very good recruiter, and I think he's able to flip guys. I think he's able to build relationships really fast. I mean, that's what Tate Ratledge was saying, how quickly Matt Luke was able to recover from the coaching change and get in touch with Tate and kind of square things away, and I think that's huge. So to me now, I just want to see how well he gets these guys to go get after it tomorrow night.
Yeah, I mean, he's going from which he was the head coach just to fill in for Ole Miss during their probation. That's what he was there for. And he did a great job. I don't think he got hired as a head coach anywhere else. They used him as a gap filler during their probation. He did a good job for what he had.
Yeah.
And I think for him to come take this Georgia position, he knows this is a catapult to him another head coaching job.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's what Georgia's going to be bringing in the coaches for, is see what happened with Sam Pittman, Mel Tucker. You got these guys going to get these head coaching and coordinators job, and I think it's just going to continue. I think he's, underrated. When he was at Ole Miss, kind of got forgot about under Hugh Freeze, but now coming out there, he can recruit. I think we're going to lock Broderick Jones up. That'll just be another 5-star.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, our ratings per player is going to be something historic. And it kind of gets forgot about because everybody brings up 1980 or you hadn't done nothing with your talent. Like Kirby's getting this talent in there.
Yeah.
I think it's about to take off. We're about to wrap things up. Talk about the score for this Baylor Sugar Bowl coming up. What do you think the score is going to be, and how do you kind of see it playing out?
I go 31-17 Dogs. I think I think things start out kind of sluggish, but I think we kind of outlast them and kind of pound on them a little bit. The old school kind of keep chopping type game. That's kind of how I
get
see
some
it.
late touchdowns.
Yeah. Late in the third, I think we can just put it away and kind of coast through the end of the fourth.
I think it's going to be lower than that. I think we hold them. I think it's going to be 23-10.
Yeah.
Dogs on top. I think the 23. Hot Rod's going to kick field goals because that's Kirby loves kicking them field goals. But I think 23-10 would be a good score. Early on they might jump out to 7-0. But I think this Georgia team, they're motivated. They got to get the bad taste of the SEC championship, bad taste of the last year's Sugar Bowl, and this would be a good way to start 2020. Get a win. Go to signing day in February. We know how that goes. You got signing day. Well, that's all the time we got this week. Both of us can say Dogs on top. Hey, this week, basketball season's going full force. Georgia basketball this Saturday's at Memphis on CBS Sports. Big game. Georgia's 9-3. Anthony Edwards and the company. Tom Crean's Dogs playing good. Big win. Had beat the crap out of Austin Peay last night.
Yeah, that was nice.
The next 4 games, you got at Memphis, Kentucky, at Auburn, Tennessee.
Wow.
We'll see what Georgia's made of real quick. Next 4 games, we're going to find out by mid-month how good we really are. So, Sugar Bowl, he's saying 31-17. I got 23-10. Either way, Dogs on top.
Yeah.
Hope everyone has a good New Year. Happy New Year. We're coming to you next week to wrap the bowl game up. We're going to talk about the 23-10 victory Georgia had. Happy New Year. God bless. Go Dogs.